I'm going to talk about transportation today. I'm also going to talk about lots of things that don't seem like they're about transportation at all, but we'll get there. I think I got a little bit of an introduction. I'm the City of Portland's Transportation Systems Engineer. When I go and buy beer for all the other municipal transportation systems engineers in Maine, it's a very cheap buy. I'm on the Bicycle Pedestrian Committee for Lewiston Auburn, member of Bicycle Coalition of Maine. I've done Truck Across Maine a whole mess of times. And actually this is kind of a nice turnaround. When I got started in transportation in Maine, I was in private consulting and I was involved with the transportation permitting for the redevelopment of the Bates Mill. So this is kind of nice. I really want to talk a little bit about age in Maine. Got a graphic here. This is based on US Census data. And it shows us back in 1970 that Maine and the United States both had about the same median age, roughly 28 years. Fast forward to the most recent full census in 2010, and Maine, well, both places, the United States and Maine, have aged, but you can see that there is a Maine pulling away, and the forecast is by 2030, the median age in Maine will be 47 years. The United States overall will be 38 years. That's a pretty big difference, and that actually puts us up close to places like Japan in the future for age. So Maine is aging and faster than the United States. Maine residents 85 and older increased threefold from 1970 to 2010. The percentage of Mainers in their 20s, as an overall percentage of the population, will decline about 28% by 2030. And that's interesting. So one of the things we talk about when we talk about aging are impacts on behavior, mobility, those types of things. And studies have shown that as you age, your response time as a driver increases. It takes you longer to notice something, apply a brake. And so if you go from age 20 to age 68, there's a 20% increase in that response time. Age and walking speed. Walking speed declines with age. I don't think this is rocket science, but it's true. Walking speed for older adults is about 20% less than younger ones, and the time it takes to notice things such as pedestrian crossing signals, react to them and make the crossing, goes up between about a quarter to a third for older pedestrians. Why am I talking about all this? Talk about chances of pedestrian fatalities correlated with vehicular impact speeds. As you drive faster, the chances of killing a pedestrian go up dramatically. The reason I'm talking about this is everybody talks about urbanism. Everybody talks about the millennials wanting to move to the hip urban places. That's great. We're in Maine, and we can create places to attract the people we hope we will have. We need to create places to keep the people we already have. So one of the big things I want to give for a takeaway today in my very brief minutes is narrower lanes. A 10-foot lane from edge to edge has roughly 20% less width than a 12-foot lane, which gives you narrower streets, less drainage, smaller intersections, shorter pedestrian crossing times, shorter waiting times for drivers, more room for bicycle and pedestrian facilities. Florida DOT found that they really have no impact on operational urban capacity, and NCHRP 330 showed, wow, not really much of a safety impact with those narrow lanes either. Here's another little factoid. Maine and transportation spending. This is kind of a scary little graphic. 1976, according to the Maine Better Transportation Association report, Losing Ground in 2005, highway fund as a percentage of state revenues in 1976 was 26%. By 2005, it was down to about 11%. There are folks here from DOT, they can probably safely tell us it's less than that now. So some takeaways. Maine has an aging population, drivers, pedestrians. Transportation funding is limited. We need to do more with less, but less can be cheaper and safer. We need to accommodate more than just the car. We need to accommodate all ages and users. And here's another thing with an aging population, we need to encourage healthy activity. Who wants these complete streets that are walkable? AARP. This is a demonstration that was held in Honolulu, Hawaii, and AARP is expecting to do a lot more political and social work on complete streets, narrower streets, walkable streets in earnest starting next year. So I just want to take you through a couple of quick, cheap examples. Ed spoke about you can do a lot with paint. Ed is right. This is Auburn Street in Portland, which gets 15,000 cars a day. It's an arterial into Portland, gives us direction to I-95. This was 2011, a couple travel lanes, kind of messy, what's going on out here? We repaved and restriped it. We have 3 10-foot travel lanes, and it's like magic. We have space for bicycle lanes all of a sudden. Amazing. And it was paint. Here closer by, Mill Street in Auburn. If we hooked over to the left, we would hit the Bernard Lown Peace Bridge. We have a lane heading towards us. We have a couple lanes heading outbound. Not really clear as what's going on here at all. Another repaving project. Some more paint. Look at that. 3 10-foot travel lanes, and poof, we have bicycle lanes, like they appeared out of nowhere, and 8 feet for on-street parking. Here's another little cute small idea. We recently wrapped up a large development project in Portland, and as part of that, we did some traffic calming. What would be a really cool idea for traffic calming on a small residential street where we don't want to do a lot of impacts to the curb or the street, but we want a lot of impacts to traffic? We built adorable little mini traffic circles. Isn't that the cutest thing you've ever seen? My Honda Fit is bigger than the middle of that thing. I hope we can do more of these in the future. So, what are our takeaways from this? Takeaways are, we need to think small, think slow, think safe, think urban. So I'm going to take you away with just a couple of slides going a little bit of a different direction here, talking about the vastness of Maine history and transportation. Here is the Portland Peninsula in 1837. We don't even have a commercial street at this point. If you wanted to get by on anything more than your horse and buggy, you were going to take a boat. Pretty much all there was. 1914, exactly 100 years ago, this is the Rand McNally Atlas of Maine. It hangs up in my dining room. I love this map. My wife got me this map. I like to talk about it all the time. This map has all these cool little lines on it. None of these lines are roads. There's not a single road on this map. These are all railroads. These are all electric lines. The Portland-Lewiston Interurban is on this thing. You wouldn't find half of this stuff today. But rail was king in 1914. Go ahead only about 50 years, Lewiston-Auburn up at the top of the slide, and I-95 at the bottom of the slide. Massive, massive change in how we got around. Technology changed, and so did transportation. Who knows what's coming next? Is it autonomous cars? Is it protected bike facilities? Is it high-speed rail? Is it Mr. Fusion? Only Marty McFly could tell you. I want to leave you with a quote. Always design a thing by considering it in its next larger context. A chair in a room in a house in an environment in a city plan. Thank you.